There I was, walking back from my counselor's office with tears streaming down my face. I had made the worst mistake of my 14-year-old life. I didn't go to class. I tried to hang out with the juniors and seniors on the football team. I was chasing the girls too much. I was messing around with a paper clip, unlocking my teacher's desk drawers and file cabinets. I was bringing fireworks to school. And at the end of my 9th grade year, on 2nd Avenue, on the 8th floor, my teacher told me that you have been dismissed from Cass Technical High School. And the first thing I want to talk to you and tell you about student athletes, I couldn't blame my mama. I couldn't blame my daddy. I couldn't blame my auntie. I couldn't blame anyone in my neighborhood. Every decision that led to me getting kicked out of Cass as a 9th grader was my fault. So if you want to make some change, whether it's on the field or off the field, on the court or off the court, in the classroom or outside the classroom, the decision to be better is all up to you. But that's not how the story ends. Fast forward 30 years. Again, tears are streaming down my face. By a chance of happenstance, the track coach of who encouraged and motivated me to run track here in Detroit when he was at Central High School, a coach by the name of Thomas Wilcher, was retiring from thus said Cass Tech. And a mutual friend of ours connected us, and he asked me, did I want to coach track at the school where I got kicked out of? And I said, yeah. And at the end of that year, I had tears running down my face again. We are at the Division I Track and Field Championships. In my first year of coaching, our 4x400 relay team won the state championship. That's a good place to clap if you want to clap. Go ahead, clap. You clap right there. So the first thing I want to say, or the second thing that I want to say, is that a setback is actually a setup for a comeback. Where you start is not necessarily where you end. Now, I'm going to tell you what I learned in between them first set of tears to those second set of tears. And I'll write about it in this book right here. This is my book that I wrote. I grew up right here on the east side. If I don't know you, then I know your relatives. And if I don't know your relatives, some type of way I done seen them in the gas station somewhere. Because if we don't all know each other, we all related. And I wrote all of these secrets. People say that there are secrets to success. Guess what? That's a lie. There are no secrets to success. Everything that is known for you to be successful is out there in the world right now. And somebody once said, if you want to hide it from a black person, you put it in a book. And so I wrote a book, and I'm going to give some copies away today. But I want to talk real quickly about something that Coach Carr wanted me to talk about. It's called social and emotional learning. I didn't know that all success was social and emotional learning. They call it the soft skills, the life skills, those things like that. Now, let me say this. I taught 4th grade. I taught 5th grade. I taught 7th grade. I taught 8th grade. I was the dean of students of a middle school, an athletic director of a high school. I coached volleyball. I coached cross country, and I now coach track. and I do go all over the world when God affords me the opportunity. I've been to China, walked up the Great Wall of China. I've been under the Eiffel Tower. I've walked up and seen that statue in Brazil of Christ on that mountain called Corcovado, Christ the Redeemer statue. And this is all from a boy that grew up poor on the east side. Because I learned something from those first set of tears to those second set of tears, and it was social and emotional learning. And there are 5 areas. Somebody say 5 areas. 5 areas. One area is called it's called self-awareness. The second area is called self-management. The third area is called social awareness. The fourth area is called relationship skills. The fifth area is called responsible decision making. The first area, self-awareness, is so very important, because when I go into schools on the east side, on the west side, inside and outside the state, I see kids and adults who have a problem with their self-awareness and being able to control powerful emotions when they have them, whether it's anger, whether it's depression, whether it's sadness. I ask kids, so why is it that kids vape? They say, we stressed out. I'm thinking to myself, what bills you paying? What car note you paying? If you saw my DTE bill and I live by myself, that boy was $400. That should have brought tears to my eyes. Self-awareness is the first area that you have to be better at. Everyone, not just the student athletes, but the adults and everybody under the sound of my voice. Because self-awareness, you have to ask yourself 2 questions all the time. How am I feeling, and why am I feeling that way? You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because the way you think at some point is going to govern what you do, what you say. And so you have to check yourself and your emotions. So you got to know how it is that you are feeling all the time. That's the first area. The second area is self-management. Now, this is the one. When I go inside middle schools, elementary schools, when I go inside of high schools, and kids are about to start tweaking out or crashing out or whatever, self-management sometimes is called self-regulation. It is, what do you do when you are feeling some kind of powerful emotion like anger or sadness or depression? Somebody said something about you. Somebody posted something about you. Somebody gossiping about you. Somebody talked about your shoes. Somebody talked about your pants. Somebody talked about your hair. What is it that you do? Do you end up with Miss Banks or Mr. Carr, Coach Carr, because you can't manage your behavior? And I'm going to be honest with you right here on Kelly Road. It's important for us inside the classroom and outside the classroom, because in our communities right now, if you can't control yourself, it could be the last thing that you don't do right. Everybody in here, at least the adults I know for sure, know someone who was unable to manage themselves and ended up either in jail or in a cemetery. Parents, anybody clap your hands if you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately. So you got to be able to control yourself. And there's 2 things that I learned in between them first set of tears and them second set of tears. One thing is a breathing exercise that I would do called the 4-4-4 breathing technique. Breathe in 4 seconds. Hold it 4 seconds. Exhale 4 seconds. They say that if you do that 6 to 9 times, if you really about to tweak out, it'll bring you down to baseline. Or if you're feeling too depressed, it'll bring you up to baseline. The other one was the 3-3-3 method. And that 3-3-3 method is what's called cognitive behavioral therapy. But you don't got to worry about all that. CBT is called. Where you start, when you're feeling some kind of way, start focusing on things that you can see and focus on. Things that you can hear and focus on them. Things that you can touch and focus on them. Because if you can control what you are thinking and you can feel it, or you can name it to tame it, it will help you in your life inside of Denby High School and outside of Denby High School. These things have helped me. The second area is the other area that I hear a lot about from parents. They always talk about bullying. If you have seen somebody being bullied, raise your hand. Now, some people are scared to raise their hand because they're the one doing the bullying. Right? But watch this. In this, success comes from relationships. Let me say this again. Success comes from relationships. We're here right now because the administrative team here at Denby, in the athletic department here at Denby High School, wants to build stronger relationships with you. And that's why we're here right now, doing what it is that we're doing. We have to be more sympathetic and empathetic to people who are not like us, who are different than us. I was in here already and heard somebody talk about somebody's clothes. Talking about somebody's pants. Since I've been in here, I ain't gonna say no names. It's all good. But you gotta understand this. First of all, old folks and young folks know that what goes around, it comes right back around. So what you put out there is gonna come back to you. But you have to be sympathetic and empathetic to other people because you want to treat people and should want to treat people the way that you want to be treated. Number 4, and it is called relationship skills. How is it that you build relationships, people? Let me tell you something. I was at the University of Iowa, 500 miles away, and I had ran out of money, $5,000, and I write about it in my book. And I told everybody in the course of one day at the University of Iowa that I was going to have to drop out of school, come back to Detroit, work, make that $5,000 and come back. And a little old white lady that I work with named Arlene Francis, she said, Royce, how much money you say you need again? And I said, $5,000. And she says, well, wait, don't leave just yet. I'm going to tell my husband because he has money. I said, oh, okay. So a week or so later, she invited me to their house. I walked inside this big palatial house that you would see in Indian Village somewhere. And up on the wall was a buffalo head. In the corner was a stuffed bear. An antelope was here, a picture of her husband over a polar bear with a gun. He was a hunter. And I had learned that he was also an engineer who was an inventor, and he worked for a company called Amana. And they did have money because this individual, he was one of the engineers that perfected the technology for the appliance that most of us have in our kitchen called the microwave oven. So he sat me down after lunch, after dinner, after we got finished, and he asked me, said, Royce, I heard you need some money. And I said, yeah. He said, how much? I said, $5,000. He said, if I give you this $5,000, will you give it back? And I said, yeah, I have like about $15,000 of financial aid sitting at the financial aid office that I couldn't get because you got to pay off your former semester's debt before they give you the financial aid for the new semester. So this man that didn't know me from Adam wrote me a check for $5,000. I got my financial aid. I paid him back his money. I was able to graduate in 3 semesters from the University of Iowa. But I tell you this story for one reason, and it's because of the power of relationship skills and how it is that you carry yourself. When I came to work with Arlene, I was always on time. I was never cussing nobody out. I wasn't slapping nobody. I wasn't talking about nobody's clothes. I wasn't going in nobody's locker, taking nobody's stuff. I wasn't having no issues when I was at work. And she has sympathy for my situation because of the way that I carried myself and the powerful relationship that we built. So she hooked me up because of the person that she saw come to work every day. So I'm here to tell you, athletes and parents, who is the person that you are going to be when people see you every day. Because let me tell you, people always talk about America is a meritocracy and you're going to get what you're going to get because of what you know. The majority of all the stuff that I've ever gotten in my life isn't because I was smart, I was good looking, I could sing, I could dance, I could play football, I could run track. It definitely wasn't because we had no money, because we ain't had none of that. I started my senior year with my water off and our lights off. For 30 days, I was getting water from the side of the house over on Rome Street, filling that pot up, bringing it in the house, putting it on the stove, warming it up, and that's how I washed up for the first 30 days of my senior year. But the relationship skills that I am talking about that you need to build is the thing that is going to help you. People are not going to hook you up because you're so smart. They're going to hook you up because they like you. You better believe that. And this is the last area. Then I'm going to do something real quick with this book. I'm going to give out 3 copies to somebody who can remember anything of what I said when I asked that question. The last thing is responsible decision making. It was my decision not to go to class at Cass. It was my decision not to go to class at the University of Iowa. And inside the book, I talked about how I got kicked out of there too and ended up going back. But I ain't got time to tell you about that story. All of the decisions that have changed my life, there's a saying that you are born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your decisions. Let me say that one more time. You are born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your decisions. And so the question that I got for you here, athletes, parents, friends, and everyone that can hear my voice is, what type of person and what type of decisions are you going to make? And let me tell you, where you are right now in your life, where you live, it does not determine where it is that you're going. Who it is that is your family, who it is that your mom and dad, they impact your life, but they don't determine your life. Who your family is doesn't determine where you are going. You do. And so this is the last thing that I want to leave with you. They said that the richest place in the world was the graveyard. The richest place in the world, the graveyard. I said, wow, that sounds strange. And then they explained it to me like this. The richest place in the world is the graveyard because people died and didn't create the inventions. People died and didn't write the books. People died and didn't step to the significant other that would be the love of their life. People died and didn't take that trip to the other side of the world because of this 4-letter word. The acronym for it is FEAR. False evidence appearing real. Athletes, parents, administrators, friends, I want to tell you this. After you make decisions, you have to understand that if you're going to live your best life and your blessed life, you cannot allow fear to make you make and choose small and things that are not the best for you. I often, especially those people who you hang out with, OQP, only quality people. Because if I said birds of a feather, they flock together. And so you can't let fear stop you from making a good decision for yourself. Don't pick small. Don't think little. Get you a plan, a goal, and do your goal setting. And whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you will be able to do it no matter where you are right now. That's what I learned in this book. And that's why I came to give some copies out right now. So what I want to do real quick, there are 5 areas that I talked about. Somebody tell me the name of one of those areas. Come and get this book. Give him a round of applause. He says self-awareness. That's definitely one of the areas. What is another one of the 4 areas? There's 4 areas left, back in the back. Can't hear you. What is it? It's social and emotional learning. I'll give you that. Come on up. We'll take that. That's all 5. We'll take all of that. Now, one more. I have one more book. What is one of those 4 areas? We said self-awareness, and I said 4 more. Don't be scared to get an answer. Hold on. Anybody in the back? First of all, no more young men, young ladies. Let me tell y'all something. Young ladies, and this is statistics. I got my master's degree in education. Let me tell you this. Starting in the 4th grade, young ladies stop participating as much as young men do in school because they are more concerned about what people think of them than boys are. And the test scores in science and math of young ladies and the 3rd grade are the same as boys. But in the 4th grade, 5th grade, they start to level off while boys' test scores starts to go up because girls don't want to participate because I don't know. I don't want them to say nothing about me. But listen, let me tell you something, ladies. African American women are the most educated group of people in the United States of America. Put your hands together for that. So this last book is going to go to a young lady. Give me one area. Come on up here and get this book. And so the conclusion is this. I've lived in a house that didn't have no water. I've lived in a house that didn't have no lights. I've been in a situation where I got kicked out of class, got kicked out of college. I've had so many things. I didn't even tell you about the part about my mom having mental illness. Coach Carr can tell you about that. We live right on the same block. My mother still has mental illness today. She had it, she contracted it when I was in middle school, impacted my entire life. And I still have been to Paris and been to Europe 12 times. I still have been to Brazil 3 times. I still have been to China once and walked up the Great Wall of China. None of those things were able to stop me from living my best life because I decided that I wanted to be something different. Guys, put your hands together if you will decide today that you want to be better than you were yesterday. My name is Royce Kennebrew. Thank you for having me out. Have a good night.